Good morning, Melvin.
Thank you very much for having me, ladies and family on Akushe.
All right. So the question, national perspective, Sierra Leone as a country going through all of them scandal there, what do you mean?
Thank you very much. And for me, I'll be premising my conversation here to this morning on the political front because I'm a political journalist. And I think I'll be examining whether there is enough political willingness, which I don't think there is. I'm seeing more of rhetoric and theory rather than policy actions. And unless those things are done, we are still just, we are making a lipstick approach to the fight against drug and cartel. So it's worrisome, and internationally, the image of the country for a government that says it's not only building human capital development, but it's rebranding the image of the country with numerous or even countless travelings of the president and his entourage, and yet still Sierra Leone is again on the news globally for being involved, allegedly or otherwise, when it comes to drug. And importantly so, our documents are being seen in the hands of those persons that are believed to be drug barons or drug lords.
Melvin, from what you don't say and what you don't see since President Bio declared the issue of drugs as an emergency, as nation, are we fighting drugs genuinely as it's supposed to be?
Again, that's a very serious question, and I will use to answer your question, I will look at a certain paragraph that the president said in his speech, where he mentioned, time is up, there will be no sacred cows. Apparently, if it comes to that issue of whether they are sacred cows or whether the time is up, as was said by President Bio, I think that is the reverse, and I'll quote it if you allow me, Madam Presenters. President Bio say inside address on the issue, he say basically he was talking about firstly the address on April 2024, April 4th, 2024, and the national address by, as you don't see, on the national drug substance and abuse epidemic. Epidemic, let's underline that word. If it's an epidemic, so many issues there. Khadija, before I come to the first point, President Bio been say, they say the National Task Force, let me just revert and let people will get the context before. I understand after the show, maybe they're going to be short clips, so I don't want to be misconstrued or skewed in whether they say Naya. They say in point 8, it's my solemn duty as your president, acting on the powers conferred on me by the Constitution, to declare a national emergency on drug and substance abuse. He continued, with this national emergency on drugs and substance abuse, we shall broaden the scope of the government task forces work and adopt a multifaceted approach to address the increasing kush epidemic. Pay attention here. Point 12, the National Task Force will be responsible for implementing a 5-part strategy for a drug-free future, which includes prevention, care and treatment, social service support, law enforcement, community engagement. And there is this killer paragraph that it says, the time is up for, I'll quote it, point 29, at the same time, I say to anyone who is involved in the production, trafficking, and illicit trade of these drugs that your time is up. There shall be no sacred cows in our quest to decisively deal with those who are caught in the act of peddling these drugs in our country. So the point to your question, whether there have been sacred cows, as per suspicion, as per allegations, as per common belief, there is this thing that under this administration, there have been more sacred cows, even if they are rare, but more sacred cows when it comes to this perception of persons involved in importation, distribution of drugs. So I think this defeats President Bio. He said time is up, but this is 1 year on. The problem still is ravaging. So we can ask, was it just a political rhetoric, or was it a politically action-oriented statement?
There's sacred cow there where you talk about.
No, so we talk about them. What president you talk about?
There's sacred cow there where you mention. We don't see the police, when are the law enforcement body. Don't they make arrest? But the sacred cow them, what do you think say they protect them? Is it political protection or financial protection? What are they using? We make up till now. Then people there, so the police not able to bring them to book.
It's a combination of both, political and financial. These are politically exposed persons, as we've seen in few cases, and financially exposed persons because the drug trade is a wealthy business. But that is not the point. Your question goes to a bigger point. Khadija, if you go back to the ACC website, back then, I think a year ago, they issued a statement on this, in which they mentioned the impact of drugs on the shadow economy, as they will put it. But what we've not seen from the ACC, because there is a nexus. The nexus there is unexplained wealth or illicit wealth goes with this kind of criminal enterprises, be they drug, human trafficking, or whatever. So if the ACC itself admitted, go to that website and see, they in fact indicted the security law enforcement on perceptions around corruption which they are involved in. So if the ACC itself cannot investigate unexplained wealth on some of, be they politically exposed or financially exposed persons, that in itself is an issue. So speaking to the broader problem there on who are these persons, they are financially exposed and politically exposed. But what keeps them composed is corruption.
So this cartel where President Bio make mention of, is it that they're powerful to the point that even the police not able to scatter the cartel?
Because of corruption. And also lack of political willingness from in the President Bio itself. Because you must practice what you preach. If you have a situation wherein no less a person, but your own daughter is in question with alleged association with somebody that is being declared wanted or sought, you have the personal latitude as the president to use that as a case study to say, I'm not in support or favor or condone this in any way. But if that thrives, instead of going after those kind of persons, then we see state institutions giving them two names to disqualify them. As at yesterday or the other day, we seen foreign minister saying, oh, there has not been any formality of or complaint. You see the government is hiding behind bureaucracies, red tapes, and institutions to not come out. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous not only for the economy, but it's a government that says it wants to build human capital development. How can you be building human capital development, sending a lot of kids to school, for at the end of the day, by the time they reach from 6, push don't make them come out of school, or other drugs don't them.
That will bring me to the next question I want to pose to you. With all of them things there where you don't talk about, really see, and also they really see for wipe this stain with the on saloness, and especially back-to-back international media they report on these particular issues, and also publication, and they out there, international journalists, they don't deny this country for a very long time when they do undercover investigations. Me and you know, say most of them journalists that can reach out to we the local journalists them for help them facilitate their reporting.
You question, hanging on your lips, whether the President Bio government is serious. So you are provoking me to reply by that. From the actions, which if time permits, will catalog from just to others, it seems as if the government is not just not serious, but the government is playing cook when it comes to the fight against drugs. They are not only serious, but they are being deceptive, using fine languages, using occasions, using events. Drugs begins with political willingness. I am not saying President Bio should be like Rodrigo Duterte in the Philippines, who now faces international criminal court indictments for his overreaching activities on the fight against drugs. But what we've not seen is that punitive deterrence from either the judiciary or executive or even the legislature is their report when it comes to what should be done. The recommendations contained as tabled in Parliament. So I don't think this government is serious. In fact, seriousness is an understatement. The government seemingly is not willing, like I said, like President Bio say, for nip this in the bud by targeting the sacred cows. until you deal with the chain of supply, meaning the importation, this business. Also, the one where they go buy Afghan. No, these are people that are financially and politically exposed. And for fighter cartel day, you take the highest will of political willingness. And if you begin first with yours.
Words is a this certain way people they make billions and billions of leons. And it talk and clearly they say the fight against drugs. Not to salon where they happen, but intake will not seem for the. Could that be an influence over institutions them we suppose for the deal with the issue of drugs? We take the police for example. Waiting and not go ever tell you right now how far they don't go an investigation for confirm whether or not Omar Sharif still the salon.
To answer your question quickly, no. To answer your question on whether it's an influence, yes, it's an influence that the cartel don't big past the institutions. But there's a much more significance to your question, Nebel. We mean say, the power it don't gains. President Bio seem for don't tell we say the drug cartel big pass in government. Technically, President Bio is saying he has failed on the war on drugs and cartel. When someone say, I'm watching, I mean, the fact that we search for that video because I want for use as one of my references. I'm very scripted, but because of it's a conversation, I would just want. So President Bio also apologized to Sierra Leone that he don't fail on the war on drugs. If you go tell international community, not local, international, where there are other non-Sierra Leoneans and others, it might be a Sierra Leonean function, but anything that happen in first world, it is covered by the state. If you are saying that it's $1 billion business, it's a big cartel, so it means to say, technically we've slipped into a narco state, wherein the state institutions cannot fight the war on drugs. So President Bio, if we're having a formidable opposition, they should be asking him to resign, a vote of non-confidence. Because last year ago, you were telling Parliament that, oh, you are consolidating efforts and all that and rehabilitation, and now you are coming to tell diasporans, not even Sierra Leoneans. That is an injustice to the sovereignty, the integrity, and the intelligence of Sierra Leoneans.
Usai the state authorities, including the political will we be the talk about from President Bio, lose grip on the fight against drugs.
Law enforcement, the judiciary, and above all, the political willingness. Go and read the U.S. State Department's reports. They're indicting. AFCC reports itself is indicting. Let me just, if you permit me, you know, these days I'm not going to be boring for me viewers because I'm very scripted. And when you look at the ACC, they are in their statement, they are saying that the perception is that the law enforcement are also in connivance with some of this cartel. But what the ACC not tell me that whether they ever get mind for guava. Some of these, whether they are politically or financially exposed persons, for go to the bottom. So it's an institutional problem. I agree, it's multifaceted. But if you don't have the political willingness to stamp it out,
this political willingness, it's about now waiting exactly unpack them for the viewers.
Political willingness. Now, what you talking for doing? This government's waiting and talking doing. Go and read the statement of the president and go and read other policy statements on the issue. Now, ask yourself one simple one: the rehabilitation centers. What's the status of their operation right now?
None is working. Based on waiting they tell we are the other day.
So is that political willingness? Is that political seriousness? Is that political correctness for a government that is investing huge capital in human capital development? So there is lack of semblance of political willingness, just rhetoric, theory, and lack of reality on the ground.
When we look at the statements you make, say President Bio don't fail in the fight against drugs in the country and how bad Salon look right now na the international stage when it comes to drugs and other drug-related issue them. Going back, one go on for argue you say, not a President Bio fail, but rather the people the way he puts before na state institution them. We don't see this person with the Netherlands government put out a picture, say, na in the bello just when they look for, involved in a fight, na a nightclub, where inside that video, the former immigration officer, Bidede, would also see a video, outside the former immigration officer, allegedly, it is celebrating 50th birthday, A.M. Bello just, they exchange gifts. We see the current head of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, where we then at the immigration department. Now a video with this same person where the Netherlands government they allege say na in and they look for and na in the salon. So is it that President Bio for blame or na the individual the way he puts for work na the state institution there?
We get the one at Sierra Leone special court. You know, I make them put them in Ghana and then police and court they all behind bars. And so that carry the greatest responsibility. President Bio carries the crown. He's the fountain of honor. He's the guardian of the constitution. He's the primus inter pares. For God blame Bello Jos, Kane and others. It's secondary. It's a diversionary. Like, where would it be cowardice? If we want to speak truth to power, now President Bio will for blame say it don't fail. When you remove them people and they under their suspicion, what do you do there? It doesn't pull them no more. In fact, some man they upset them will put them back. So who takes blame for that? If you allow remove some of the people and subject them to investigation, and an investigation report is published, whether they're guilty or not, we're not saying they're guilty, but you just remove them and nothing is done about that. Is that political commitment to which you say they ravage the young people of the country? That is a political rhetoric. And Khadija, I want to encourage you now for watch this latest documentary. It's called 2 + 2 = 5. It's a screen adaptation of George Orwell, where politicians tell you say 1 + 1. You know what I mean 2. So the president will say, oh, I'm committed to the fight. It's just a rhetoric. He has failed. Let anybody from the administration come and challenge me that he has failed. I stand for being fact-checked. I stand for argue on this. President Bio has failed. Based on what he say and what they happy now. Firstly, the biggest failure is time done. In fact, now the drug business they on one more pin. The game not even started from what we see. I was talking to a medical person, confidential. He said on importation of tramadol, there is a report to be published that $42 million has been spent on importation, illegal importation of tramadol. I said, Brian, you give me this information. Say, hey, Melvin, if I give that information, I will get problem on the job.
But the question now is, there's a task force. President Bio himself now he set up this task force. Yeah. And with all the task force where they exist for fight against the substance here, every now and then when you talk to medical practitioner them, you talk to people then where they come in contact with young people who they take their drugs there, then go begin to tell you about new drugs them when they invent. So is the task force really working? Or them pronouncements there where President Bio can make, like for example, he make a pronouncement say don't set up a task force. He make a pronouncement say he don't declare as an emergency. Now just talk for talk's sake.
Follow up Nodi. And of course, I don't want to attack nobody, but me attack personality in an institution. If we have a robust office of the chief minister, I should be following up on that. But let me come, that is secondary. Now, Khadija, you don't make it easy for the government. So to task force he begin from. All right, family, that's all now what President Bio for say. It say they form a presidential advisory team that they supervise the task force. So, Khadija, the first question, where is the presidential supervisory team on the task force?
So why is it coming out? They talk about these particular measures, them saying that they put as a precedent for solve this problem.
Because perhaps the media and civil society were not robust enough. If we are setting the agenda, like one of our sisters set agenda say, why we they talk on drugs, we see how somebody will call himself so they come back. We should be more thematic on these issues. Because if we're not going for follow-up and go remind President Bio what he say, whether I manifesto now or policy statement now or address to parliament, then it's a Matamano, a politician, they can talk. But remember, I say President Bio, this should be say, quote and verbatim to verbatim. We don't deal with the one who the camp for can begin talk for President Bio. Those are not for me. Those are not the target. The target is the president himself because he makes the ultimate decision. So if you say you don't form task force, ask yourself when President Bio sit down with this task force. They will tell you say this task force according to reports for the Sudan every week. When last they sit down? Waiting at the last minute of the meeting. Waiting at the last day when they get public engagement. Who are the members of this task force? Not the committee and the task force. Who are the members there? Who are the head there? Who's the secretariat there? So when politicians make 2 + 2 statements = 5, I don't buy it. President Bio was just making a rhetoric, and I think he has not only failed, he is continuously failing on the war of drugs, and that might be one of the most, what I would call, the biggest blights of his legacy. That there is a proliferation of drug and the cartel in Sierra Leone under the watch of President Bio. It will be a negative legacy behind him. So he should be very, very proactive. Because so far they have been reactive. Proactive means go after what's wrong, and in this case, institutions that are weak, strengthen them. Persons that are believed to be the barons, go after them, the importations, strengthening the weak border and seaports and airports, improve the morale of the workers there. Because if, imagine just appear, societies like Angi, let's say $100 million, we send the one budget for the institution or rich than they. Don't you think those people are going to compromise? So let them get also the adequate resources in the fight. But above all, I cannot run away from this political willingness. Like you do all Landy. One call from above. If there's a call from above, that fits them effects. No, we don't do for letter arrest all man. But one call from above can negate
call
that.
From above. Mm-hmm. When the latest incidents come public, we get to do with the Salon diplomatic passports, where then send somebody and again regarding drugs. Plenty people be the one that say that moment where the news break, if we serious as a nation, then we expect them to hear it from the government, for example. Not until yesterday evening, where we see the immigration department issue a statement, decided and say the president asked them for set up investigation again into this same issue. Taking into consideration the time frame from when the incidents come public to yesterday, let's just draw your attention to the second paragraph that they released. It said the government and Sierra Leone Immigration Department view the allegations with utmost seriousness. I underline the word seriousness, protecting the integrity of Sierra Leone's diplomatic privileges and reputation in top priority. Is that what is happening? Then say then take this with utmost seriousness.
This is a classic, low-cost classic cause of the failure of the government. Why immigration need for wait till President Bio tell for months an investigation on serious allegation? And by the way, for help government small, I think the foreign minister yesterday put out a statement in which he's saying that, oh, there's no formal notification to the effect. I think that's the secondary now saying that they are investigating. The government is proactive. No, they are reactive. Is there anything serious going to come out of it? I doubt it. Because this is not the first time these things have been set up. At the end of the day, we don't know. I think this is a subtle way where the government use for massage and kill the issue here. Now, this go for they say that they want 2 3 months. Look how the advisory and the supervisory committee die. Natural death of unknown. And so this back. So it shows the lack of what is called programmatic approach. There was supposed to be a comprehensive plan. If you look at what President Bio and other documents are saying, a holistic, the word they use, holistic comprehensive plan, including Ministry of Health, Ministry of Social Welfare, ask yourself, is there any comprehensive plan by this government on the fight against drug and cartel? Or let's limit it to drug? So the president is just making statements, he's not backing them with words, and he's deceiving Sierra Leoneans and parents. That's what is happening in Salon. People are really picking this up over this year. And I swear nobody swear. They swear. And that's why and also the one and number way the count and way they affect. So they affect the country. Swear any society swear for them. It's serious. Man, I see come together every day. I do business at Kuto Road. I live at New England. I do business. I interact with ghetto boys. Again, let me just say it. I think so we need to legalize ghetto in this country. This is a radical statement. So what does it mean? We need to legalize ghetto because if we don't legalize ghetto, the other countries are talking about decriminalization or legalization. We know almost ghetto, for example, in our Brookfields. We don't say, may his soul rest in peace, Tony, with the guy. We don't say Tony, let me get Phillips ghetto. We register all ghetto. All ghetto, you know, say you have to go monitor and inspect who's kind of drug that they sell. Because this year, I'm never going away from our own. And nobody's talking about the radical inclusion aspect of it. We like it or not, ghetto and they exist. All the approaches now that they use, engagement and all this, we need to bring them ghetto owner on board. Either we look at the legal framework saying that we change their name from ghetto to other thing, but when the same thing will happen, we must radically include them because at the end of the day, then ghetto then they are some of them go slow. And you will make any policy, action, or program where they involve ghetto. This is the hypocrisy of our society. You didn't go in an office for solve social problems. Yeah, you can go there behind your computer and do the strategies. So for me, I think we need an inclusive but radical approaches towards this. This year, I want to go to blind, and if we start to look at political willingness no more, we will continue to fail, and communities must be involved.
Melvin, let we look at reports that we don't come out. Also, allegedly, this Bello Jos, it don't even buy SUV motorcar them supply to the immigration department. They don't even buy SUV motorcar them, give to minister them as gifts. Now, we don't talk to plenty government people, and they deny and say they're not sabi bello just. The presidential spokesman, now one person where we host and I will ask him for bello just. He say no sabia. The police spokesman, we don't ask him, he say no sabia. They don't even know who say bello just day. Genuinely, as a social commentator, you think say the people are within a position of authority, they're honest enough with this deny when they deny say they're not sabi bello just. Somebody where they see very, very close with the president at a church?
I don't think so. And it's deliberate for let the threat they continue, for let people still they die, for let the epidemic they continue. It's deliberate because as President Bio don't say people are again from her. Unfortunately, the President Bio not do. And that he will not use a case of links allegedly to Inyo Os as a deterrent. That's allegedly, they say Bella Jos. In fact, they watch one report last night. They say, in fact, they don't give allegedly the president picking Bella and don't born at some country allegedly. And if that's not the case, Chief, where you are making law old, now you also watch in the begin. If Bella Jos allegedly involved, and the president or the president office has never come out to say this is true or not true, that the president picking get connection with her, that is a must. Even if it's not an official business, the office of the president or the family of the first family, the spokesperson for can say that is true or not. If that is not true or true, and it still remains ambiguous and unknown, then the president Bio is vicariously liable. Because you know we go after other people there, don't allegedly you won't pick in a man. Ebo, who does that? So the president now can tell you whether or not true for saying picking na man with Melojos or not, or in family spokesman or anybody. Nobody ever tell you that. So we are left to just linger in suspicion. That in itself is a disservice. If not a true, why you not can say not a true? Something like you say it, silence means consent. So the silence of the presidency and the first family when it comes to that particular guy is a serious matter. Because other people are not going to forget if that man they at floats, and now so there you know. Secondary, they say that's not in the law or in law. So the government becomes a monarchy under President Bio. And it's scary. It's a monarchy. And a family name also they be stained, allegedly or truthfully. And he has not come out seriously. And Melojos will continue to become a problem. Because he's a global phenomenon. And anybody will link to her. And look at this heartening information about diplomatic passports in law in hand. I go don't get that if it's not about political influence or financial influence.
The international media, especially the Dutch media, they report say Bello Jos they enjoy state protection as alone. You agree with that?
The fact they're not able for adduce as a journalist. Last time you would tell you say we are journalists. So me, I don't know if you know it's man journalists or black man journalists. Journalists are held to a global standards. If you are saying they enjoy state protection and there is a hula balloon now, whether he owns a diplomatic passport or not, I am not a spokesman for APC or SLPP or government or not, he who asserts must prove. Those international institutions must come out with printouts attesting the fact that he enjoys, one of which I'm sure they are alluding to Khadija, is alleged holding of diplomatic passports. If that is the case, if that's not the case, let's talk about Creole family. That means saying that too, you know, only enjoy political support, it enjoys state support, as said. So that is not clarified, and the government is not speaking about it. So it just lends some credence to the allusion that yes, this might be the case. Although the international institution and they say get right to prove and say yeah, President Bio family they involved, which nobody here, nobody not do yet. Beats Alimio and that kind of investigation showing, apart of unexplained words, we're not getting evidence right now. So we need some kind of rugged investigating journalism, like that way OCCPR do on the state of the government Sierra Leone for expose. Because alone, if you know as a journalist, you want to do that investigation, and they enough for you for ready for be deported.
From where they allege say Bello Justin at this country, few signs don't they come up of few unknown ship them when they see na the Salon water. But at some point, the police can go again, do investigation, and say they not find nothing when of interest. Now, pointed and dandy.
It just talk about state protection. Exactly. How ship go ride itself can park na corner. Let me do a side strand within a corner. And then go meet the ship empty. Empty ship, they move. These things are just the illogic of governance we some of we need for expose. The statement not add up at all. And it just indicts and implicates the police, like how ACCB don't say before, that law enforcement, the Guinea people are so solace and a very, very enforcement. But it goes back to political willingness. If there was political willingness, one thing call, they pull all the people away that are boots, we said them going on. Because there is lack of political willingness, these are the problems. So the police, I think, for me, it goes beyond the police. They can do more, but if the hand where they feed them, not ready for disconnect, passively, I don't think the police can do much.
So the police a compromising job in this case because we see where the issue been starts. The IG himself, we don't address the public through the Ministry of Information, but since then we're not hearing that again. Are they compromising their job because of orders from above?
Orders from above might be secondary. There are lots of evidence that persons in law enforcement are involved in this business. So they are not only compromised. They are. Yes, they are.
With the evidence.
Hey, you don't see video that way officer they high on drug. You don't see what reports where persons involved in law enforcement are complementing the efforts of criminals, particularly in drug trade. It's there. But I guess what you are saying is fact. The media, including Liberty, need for commission and underground investigative reports bringing out because the government not going to ever accept say they know or they don't know. But it's the media and civil society for bringing out this tangible evidence. But certainly, law enforcement cannot be exonerated in this one. But it's above law enforcement, and that's where political will comes into play. That policeman, imagine one ordinary constable or one sergeant or one even LUC go arrest just now. How much calls you will get? It's just natural. So if that person whether they get calls and say, then hold on, so let's see where this will end. We appreciate your efforts. I'm never afraid for a job. Since that person on for 20, 25 years for one incident, I lost his job. So even when we are saying they are complicit, well, in fact, the environment they follow them will do their work properly. Because they will do their work properly, some of these law enforcement are involved. This I will say it without any fear. Some of them are involved, either in the distribution or in the supply or in the sales. They are there. Public records are there. If not like, let me go to communities. Let me ask how much people are wearing uniform when they involve drug business. Communities know. So, I mean, the next thing is, also have to go reports. What will come out of it? Also, and for example, in a community, we get a place where we call common ground. We don't go report, say, or push. Anything and say, hey, with the car. So now, once the community ever take upon itself, we take the law into our hands for fights. So, at the end of the day, who knows? I cannot make any suspicion, but what if, and say the person will go report and go meet and I will steady there. Poor we will go report, now we now then will see as the enemy.
So if this kind of trend they continue and this fight against drugs, institutions were supposed for people accountable, allegedly involved as well. Also, the forces alone and the fight against drugs.
We might slip into a narco state, as I said earlier on, and that will be bad. It will mean that we are a failed state. It means that democracy is irrelevant, institutions are not working, and there is a threat to drug and peace. If you look at the TRC report, drug now be one of the field where the RUF or by then SLA them will use for morale for the boots and more. And if we're having a pandemic or an epidemic, as then they call it, then it's serious. That means the peace is fragile. That means the economy might collapse. Because at the end of the day, these illicit activities, if they make money boku past the country, that means that they control the country. And the ACC talk about that. The dark economy. So it's very serious that it will be one of the most terrible legacies of the SLPP and President Bio. And this might be an election issue. If we have a formidable opposition, this might be a campaign issue. Look at what the do's and the don'ts, the pros and the cons, and come and tell Sierra Leoneans. They will believe you if you have a strong case. So this drug problem is not just a social, health, economic, security, but it's a political issue that might even kick the SNPP out of power if they don't take it seriously. Sierra Leone has combated and they swear every day, from Dovecourt to in station to wheresoever you go, combated and the money, and the money and they go to the bearers of the responsibility, but also swear in the cross WhatsApp. Now the country back you go for them. So we must be very serious because the future of the country, not just the youth, but the state institution itself might collapse and we might be a failed state.
Melvin, how you go describe the approach where the police to use so far in bringing to book people them where then they suspect say na the manufacturer there or na the importer them of this drug?
I hate to be sarcastic, but sometimes I like for smile. I like things like over the smile. Like Joblo Jabla. The police approach na Joblo Jabla. On one hand, they give notice to one person where they go in. On the other hand, let me just use two case studies. There was two woman, unfortunately. I don't see no feminist group that they put statement. The one get for do with Prezo Bio. The other one get for do with Natasha Beckley. They are two socially exposed persons. Whether one financially or politically exposed is another thing. In one case, Prezo Bio is giving prior notice. In another case, Natasha Beckley. They are two socially exposed persons. Whether one financially or politically exposed is another thing. In one case, Prezo Bio is giving prior notice. In another case, Natasha Beckley is giving belated notice. So they are inconsistent. And Pancreo, if you want to find Creole word for police approach to the fight against drugs, na Joblo Jabla. Yeah, Joblo, Obaranda Jabla. They are not consistent at all. One size is not fitting all. They are sacred cows, as mentioned by President Bio, and the system seemingly is compromised.
Well, this is one thing where if you put onto any government official, then the challenge you say progress on the fight against drugs as far as they're concerned, and not sound like how the media they make it look like.
Oh, I agree with that point that we might be overblowing the issue, but that's not true. It's like you see the body that they don't ask. It's one day the body safe. Although they may or not tell me actually the cause, he say he use one word hypothetically, one big grammar. You know, he may have a very good part big English. He use one big English, which means to say it cannot be proven. However, Usai Council, they say they don't try for get our body in the streets. Usai mortuary, they say they take no unidentified corpse. It's about loss of lives. We look at them more just as the drug, but the impact is loss of lives, not the seriousness. And if government is say one thing, institution will not forget a program, a collective approach towards the problem. Council will tell you say, now we act for collecting the body. Ministry mortuary will tell you say, also with duty. We don't even have a comprehensive plan as to how to go about this problem. It's serious. It's the biggest show of political willingness. And I will repeat, President Bio has and is failing on the war on drugs.
The opposition, don't they come through for play their own part, for make government sit up, say this is a problem, this is affecting us as a country? Because they self get a role for play, they are part of government.
Unfortunately, they don't have the numbers. But unfortunately also, they can explore more means in summoning government officials, heads of those institutions to come to parliament. But again, nice people they run the parliament. So even if you go tell the leader of government business, say, want someone NDLA or immigration, it's about how they're willing for do that. But the opposition, I think what they can do is to raise a lot of awareness using facts and data. Unfortunately, Mayor Akisoya try, but instead, it's like you say, a chap small. Because when you get them figure on the number of deaths, and never for tell we whether it's proven that na push or drug they kill them. And they chap small. But that was the finest opportunity where the opposition come close for expose the government's ineptitude. If you look at Mayor Akisoya's statements, it generally talks in the government not concerned about what's happening. The government is show concerned. But waiting Mayor Sawyer not for do, if we don't do for be empirical. Now for say, okay, they want to go beg. In fact, waiting Mayor Sawyer do for self, he exposed Freetown City Council. It's just so they go beg. Like I don't know what we seen in that video, where they go beg person and the shake. It's just a council to go beg people that don't know nothing kill them. It's disastrous. It's atrocious. Follow the way people who don't know what to kill them. Then you are coming out politically now to your question as there be much more political force from the opposition on the subject matter. They have, like I always say, if Mayor Akisoya from the patient small number without statement, they give statistics, give data. Say out of that 200 so from the test we do now so involving Kush. Then the opposition get a strong document, but they are just also flying on the wind. The government talk about this, they don't even qualify whether an epidemic or a pandemic or just a problem. We don't know. So the opposition self can be empirical, but again, they are limited because they don't get the number, and Sierra Leone one will not see. If we have a member of the opposition, I should be moving a motion that they will summon the president of parliament for question time. Summon the president, not to no minister, not to nobody. Summon President Bio said he can't snap now the well of parliament. Ask him the questions around the pandemic. What if we don't say? In fact, in the parliament talk about the same problem. Someone,
is that possible under the parliament where we this now?
Yes, 20% of MPs can summon a session of parliament.
Yes,
and
they can then at the constitution or the standing orders of parliament. But when you look at the political dynamics, the composition of how politics they play in a salon, a lot of politicians they hold them party them to high esteem rather than the country. You'd imagine a scenario Usai SLPP MP go join opposition and say, let we call the president for question time, like what do they see now the Parliament of South Africa?
Again, if that government MPD in Peking affected by this which we talk so, it go ready for the one. This also goes to the personal law. When we talk about government institutions, it's about personal. If you MP, you begin to face this kind of problem, or any of your relative, or your village, or your constituent that face this problem, you ought to do that. That's the dichotomy between politics and governance. I agree. In Sierra Leone, taboo for the APC vote against APC or SLPP vote against SLPP. But the social nature of this problem, again, it comes to the question, we need a bipartisan approach. SLPP will not solve the problem. In fact, they are just failing. They need the complements of the opposition. You need a bipartisan approach. Call authorities. Of course, area. We don't want to see. I don't know if it ever happened at Parliament for the MPs summon the president, which I think we should be doing if we have to enhance with democracy. Let the president come and explain. Because everything the president does, it's at his cozy, at his own whims and caprices. Let somebody then they when the urger or when it's poor. In this case, we don't have it. So we have the media and civil society, and we're going to use it effectively for that.
So it don't reach that point where you think, say, citizens or parliament for all presidents be accountable for this particular drug and other drug-related substance them where if Fibalek it ravage Sierra Leone.
I know if Fibalek, I say so. Now I say so in a statement. You know, the government know the problem. The President Bio and government they highlight all the problems. They know, and in fact, they outline all the approaches for solver. So, for we Combra them, I use Combra. I mean, I'm a parent of 3 boys. So I know what this problem is. I am in a community. I'm a community activist and leader. Thank you for reaching this country. Like I can say for now, a political issue, maybe election level can. Thank you for Combra and for upset. One day they will come out on the streets for tell President Bio that the actions are not enough on this fight. Combra and they swear every day, Khadija. Me, I did live with the grassroots. I know what they are feeling. Combra and they swear every day, and the one that they swear, and the one that will get power for stop and not stop, I don't know the one in day. We all know that one in day. Now the elected authorities begin from number 1.
Deliberate from their side on our resources not enough and the fight against drugs.
It is deliberate because of lack of willingness.
So the agency were supposed for implement certain laws then they nothing on they not get vehicle, they not get money, talk to the ministry, the same complaint all the time.
It is deliberate. Because if you want to drug sober one, you will give the resources to the institutions then. It is deliberate because they know all these problems exist, but they are not solving it. It is deliberate because these are not new things. And what is new is that no action tangible has been taken. None. And it's very, very unfortunate. Very.
Alia, you make a statement say if the SLPP-led governments not be careful, now this drug allegation where they on them get for pull their power. And I ask you the question about the role of the opposition. For you believe say they not get the numbers for take the necessary line of action for all governments accountable. But again, somebody else going to wonder maybe they go on for use them as a political advantage. Say let we not talk, let we left them wait and come for elections. We use them against them.
Then the opposition is wicked. You know, I mean, electorally was almost, you know, what's possible with the left then and they will go vote for you. You know, most of them drug barons, they go don't get money, we go say they will for influence the election for let you know win. So they are doing themselves a disservice if they see and lock here and lock more, say, let them feel no more, not to business, whoever guys use them for campaign. Do you know, in fact, you said when you say you go for campaign, if you go for campaign due to this drug problem. So it's a miscalculation. That there's something wrong when them politicize the fight on drugs. It's not a political fight. It's a concerted fight. And the president will see that. But unfortunately, from the one that we see then the sides for the drug, it's either whether I call Biggie 10 or Uda. Now we see people when they say and brother and sisters and family and the government then take strong action against them. It's half time. I'm not afraid. But if the opposition says, I think yes, that numbers, Khadija alone or Larry know who to set agenda on these numbers on the framing and thing. We will be very careful. Not having the numbers doesn't mean that you should not raise your voice or you should not trigger actions. Let them feel and you use that to
Your voice not loud enough, correct?